We have some examples of companies that we could call today already factories of the future, but they still have also access where they can grow towards this position. And then I make the link to the Flemish situation, where we have a Flemish government, at least we have one government at that level, and they published the Green Book about new industrial beleid, and now they're working on the next phase with a white book, and what is very interesting for us, manufacturing industry, is that they put the factory of the future as one of the key pillars for this vision. And with Agoria, we have developed a project that could be an answer to these challenges. And the goal is to make it happen, to help and motivate companies to make this movement towards factories of the future. And this project has two big parts. One is about innovation and research about mechatronics and ICT, which are basic technologies needed for these factories of the future, with some research, with application labs, and also implementation trajectories towards this goal. And the second one is something quite innovative, what we call the Vlaamse Open Productiecampus, where the idea is to have some factories of the future, or companies that are already quite far in being a factory of the future, that would go open and give or put their knowledge about it at the service of other companies that want to make steps towards the factory of the future. And the idea is that we would end up with something like 15 different open innovation sites around Flanders. And one of the first cases about that will be presented later today by Philips. And as you would expect, Sirris considers as its mission to assist companies in their inspiring journey towards these essential transformations.
If we see this transformation, I could say, okay, for the companies it's coming like, wow, how should we do that? Of course, some companies did it already. You explained about the Agoria, that they will define that project and actions. Sometimes I believe it's not that easy probably to do all that. So is there any strategy of how you will do it in detail? Because also open campus, will people be prepared to open their facilities? Just questions.
Yeah, I think there are some barriers to pass. What we see already is that there are companies willing to open their facilities. I mentioned Philips, but you could tell, for example, also in the chemistry or in health. There's Janssen Pharmaceutica, there is BM Tech in Kortrijk, there's TPB in Geel. So different companies really are open to the idea that their knowledge about manufacturing, about mechanization, is relevant also for other companies, and that there are possible business models to open up. So I think we have there already signs that it could be possible, and the first steps are taken. It's a major program. I don't think there is one clue to say, well, thanks to this first little action, everything will go forward. I think we need a lot of power and a lot of effort to get it moving in that direction. And there are already some projects defined and starting up for different aspects of the whole. But what we need is some kind of master program that we follow up and where we make steps, step by step. And also a lot of examples could be inspiring other companies. So when we have one success with one open production site or with one company making steps forward and having success in the market, we have to make sure that all the other companies know about it, so they get inspired and they get also on the movement.
Do we have similar activities in other countries like France, Germany, or would be the open campus idea? Or?
I think the open campus idea is when you look at production, quite new. There are a lot of open campus innovation initiatives, but the open campus production idea is quite new. But if you look at the generic theme of factories of the future, there are big efforts being put also, for example, in Germany, to make these transformations also there. So we have to keep up with our neighboring countries. It's not a choice. We will have to go this way.
My question actually relates to locations and regions. My question, what I would like to know is, I mean, it's a great idea to have the 7 stages of transformation. Is that based on already regional activities that you see around the globe then? Like if I relate to lean manufacturing, which is like, you know, if we talk about lean, it is Japan and gets transformed all over the globe. Is this something which is already in the next stage, maybe in other regions, and that you think this is the path that Flanders and Western Europe will follow, or is it just a new concept in the beginning stage and it's still in motion?
Well, I think the basic work was done at European level, at the EFRA project, and there more than these 7 transformations were identified, being important for Europe, for manufacturing industry in Europe. What we did is select the 7 we believe are most needed on the local situation in Belgium. So I believe that there is a big consensus about these themes as being a priority around Europe, in fact. I'm not aware about the vision, for example, in Japan about it. I have seen different publications in the US that also go in this direction. For example, in the US, one of the key issues is that they have a lot of innovation, but the manufacturing of this innovation is for 90% done in the Far East. Take the example of Apple. The product innovations are done in California, but all the production is done by subcontractors in the Far East. So the employment is not in the US, and certainly not the employment of workforce. So they have a big issue around that, and this could become as well an issue here if we don't move in this direction, because then we would lose step by step all this production activity to lower wage countries, and today mainly in the Far East. So there is quite a European and maybe even Western consensus about these topics, but there is still a long way to go to be there. And we are starting, but some companies are ahead, but too few of them today.
Is there a difference in approach for the smaller model and the middle-sized enterprises versus the big enterprises? Do you see is the challenge bigger for one or the other, or there are different approaches? So looking at, from my point of view, so the small and middle-sized enterprises, what is your view on that?
I think the way to go forward will be probably different, because mainly the decision-taking in a small company will be another type of process than in a big company. But if you look at the content, I think the small companies maybe have an advantage, because they can change faster than the big ones. So I think if they understand what are the steps they have to take, I think the doing is maybe easier in a smaller company. The problem may be investment, because if you want to update your production facilities, then you need money to invest, and that could be the backside of agility for the small ones.